Hi everybody, it's Tasso. I am sure you are familiar with the story of the professor who holds up a $20 bill in front of his students and says, "Who wants to have the $20 bill?" And of course all the students say, me, sir, sir. And the professor takes the $20 bill and crumbles it and asks the students again, who would like now to have the $20 bill? And of course, similarly, the students raised their hands and wanted to have the $20 bill. Then the professor takes the $20 bill, throws it on the floor, steps upon it, and when he picks it back up with all the dust and mud and whatever else was sticking on the shoe, he asked, and what about now? Who now wants to have the $20 bill? And still everybody was raising their hands and say, me, I want the $20 bill. And it's a wonderful story to illustrate that whatever happens to you, it doesn't affect your value that you have. But there's a catch. What the story doesn't tell right is that, of course, the environment can change, which will have an impact on the $20 bill. So the banks can decide that all of a sudden, $20 are not enough to buy a smartphone anymore, but maybe barely a slice of bread. So don't get me wrong, I really like the story that I just told you. I love it because it illustrates perfectly the fact that your value is independent of what happens to you. But it doesn't explain everything, and it got me thinking. It got me thinking, whom and what do we allow to attach value to us? Look at it. Some people might take their value from all their competencies and the skills they acquired. So they keep learning. They have a PhD here, a PhD or an MBA there. They pimp up their CV and they try to become more and more valuable for the marketplace. But what if these skills are not relevant anymore in the marketplace? How does that make you feel about your value? Or when people take their value out of the fact that they are the most intelligent or the most funny or the most beautiful or handsome person in the room. Now, take these people and put them in a new environment where people are equally intelligent, funny, beautiful, or handsome. How will that make them feel about themselves? Or look at it, if you take the service that you provide to others, something that is really the highest form of being, what I would consider to be living a purposeful life, by giving what you have to offer. Still people can say, you know what, thank you, but no thank you. So even that, how would that make you feel when you actually are hit by something that you have to offer, something that is deep inside of you? You see that you can never allow external circumstances to define your value. If you failed once or twice in the past, or if you even constantly failed, if you have been beaten up by life, if people cheated on you, if you've been ridiculed or you have been bullied at school, that doesn't define you, that doesn't define who you are or your future. And as much as you cannot allow external circumstances to define your value, you also cannot allow people to define your value. Because people don't know your potential. Nobody knows your potential. Even yourself, you don't know your potential. That's why we are made by our creators to constantly pursue our boundaries, to push our limits and to see what we're capable of. People will always judge your value based on what you can do for them, based on what value you add for them. So that has nothing to do with who you are or what you're capable of. So what does define then your value? Clearly, it has to be something that is intrinsic, something that nobody can take away from you. And so see, I believe it's your character. It's how you choose to show up in this world. It's like Viktor Frankl, for instance, said in his very famous book, Man's Search for Meaning. For you who don't know, Viktor Frankl was a Jew inmate in one of the concentration camps, and he wrote this book after he was freed. And he, in his famous quote, he says, "Everything can be taken away from a man except one thing, the last of human freedoms, his ability to choose his attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose your own way." And that's what it is. It's your positivity in a negative world. It's how you intend to and how you choose to have an impact on the world. Let me give you a practical example. For instance, if you're going to a meeting, it's not the content that you're going to offer that is adding value to the team. It's the minute before the meeting when you sit there and say to yourself, what am I trying to achieve here? And how am I going to show up? Because it's how you're going to motivate and inspire people to do more than they think they're capable of. How you can uplift them and how you can show them the possibility. Or let's take a personal situation in your family life. It's not the fact that you bring the money home that makes you valuable for them. You know, because when you're dead, the insurance will pay the money, or the state will cover the bare minimum for the family to survive. But it's your presence. And it's not the advice or what you tell to them. It's your presence out of which your family members extract their confidence and their reassurance that everything's going to be all right. So, in summary, you see that what defines your value is you being you and being here, being the best version of yourself. That is what defines your value. People will feel attracted to you if you radiate possibility, positivity, happiness, and gratitude. And there's not even why you should be doing it, you know, to attract and influence people. It's because you can, because you're wired and you're made to do that. So I would be curious, what do you define as your value? How do you get your self-worth and your value? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked what you heard today, please click on the like button, click on the little hand that does like this, or a little heart, whatever, wherever you're actually watching it, on the blog or on YouTube, and share it. Share it if you find it useful and you feel that other people would need to hear this. Thank you very much for watching this, and until the next post, all the best.